You don't need expensive fall decor to get an expensive look. I found decor pieces at the thrift store, and with a few simple changes, I'm going to turn them into decor that looks like it came from a high-end store. And honestly, some of these makeovers are so simple, you're gonna wonder why these pieces were sitting on a thrift store shelf in the first place. Now, all of these came from my last thrifting adventure with Lisa. So we drove quite a way, so trust me, we were determined to make that trip count. And we found some really great deals and a few prices that made me wonder when the thrift store started thinking they were Pottery Barn. But I saw potential, and so I brought them home. And before we jump in, I want to thank Timeline powered by Mitopure for partnering with me on today's episode. I'll tell you a little bit more about them later, but first, let's make some thrift store magic. I'm starting with this little find because I immediately knew I wanted to do something a little different with it. This topiary was basic. It was boring, and honestly, I kind of wondered if somebody stripped out all of the foliage before and then sent it to their thrift store, but I knew it had potential. So the first thing that I did is I took the middle section to break it up and give it a little bit more interest. I took the middle section of the planter pot and hand painted on some black chalk paint. I know that I use this color a lot. I like it. It works in my house, but you could literally pick whichever color works in yours. And there's like a million different ways you could make over a planter pot like this to give it a fresh new look. This was so simple. One coat got it all done, and I didn't tape anything off. It was fine. That was like natural, and then I let it dry. Okay, then we're gonna address like the boring topiary bulb. Okay, I actually bought a whole bunch of this. This is from Amazon, and it's a whole bunch of just green maple leaves. You're gonna see me using this in so many different ways during my fall decorating, even though they are still green. And the reason why is I kind of think that they remind me a little bit of pumpkin leaves. And so anyways, I decided to cut one of these apart and shove this all over into our topiary tree to give a little bit more dimension. Those leaves were all kind of very uniform and flat, and I knew that the natural look of these and the different varying sizes and things like that would give it a lot more interest, and I think I was right. In addition, I got a whole bunch of little miniature pomegranates. Now, they kind of look like rose hips. However, on the tag it says mini pom or mini pome, P-O-M-E. And so I'm kind of thinking they kind of look like miniature pomegranates. So I think that that was the intent, even though they do also kind of look like rose hips to me. So whatever you want to call them. I decided that they look also a little bit like little miniature apples. And either way, to me, it said fall. And so I used about 4 bunches in the end of this, and I just clipped and shoved them all over, and this made all the difference. So we're talking 3 very simple steps: painting out the center section of the planter pot, adding a different greenery, and then adding all of these mini rose hip / pomegranate things, and it really transformed this piece, and it went from boring and basic to very, very high-end looking. Now, I love using these mini rose hips or pomegranates in the fall because they give those beautiful, rich autumn colors without everything having to be pumpkin. And that is actually one of my favorite tricks for making seasonal decor feel more expensive. You don't always need to decorate with the most obvious symbol of the season. Sometimes referencing the colors, textures, fruit, branches, or other natural elements give you much more collected look. And I just love how this turned out, and I hope you do too. Now, Lisa and I really did find some good things on this trip, but I will say thrifting has changed. There are still bargains out there, absolutely, but there was also quite a few things we were both looked at the price tag and thought, really? I don't know if you guys are feeling that. I totally am feeling that. And I think that made me a little bit more selective because the goal isn't really to collect more stuff, it's to recognize the good stuff, because let's be honest, I have way too much stuff as it is already. So more. It was good to be a little bit more selective, even though we found a lot of really good things still. And the next project is another great example of not needing to start from scratch. This might be the simplest project today, and it's a really good reminder that simple does not have to mean boring. And this, you're gonna die. It's gonna take you less than 2 minutes. So I found this concrete platter, which I thought was really, really interesting. When I bought it, I might have slightly overpaid for it because I thought it was really, really cool. And then when I got it home, I noticed that it was a little rougher around the edges than I realized. You know, there was like some chipping on it. It was concrete, but I loved it. And then all I did is took another bunch of these and clipped them all apart and spread them facing outward, like almost like a clock shape on the outside of it. And then I took 3 of these orange colored hydrangeas that I got last year at Pop Shelf. And I actually want to go back there and see if they have more because I really, really love these hydrangeas. They are very, very classy. And they were, I think, worth $3. They were such a good price at Pop Shelf. So it was about this time of year. So I think I need to head back over there and see if I can grab a few more because they are super, super classy. So I just did the same shape as I did with the leaves, but a little bit more in. And then I found this beautiful, beautiful pumpkin. It's like a ceramic pumpkin at the thrift store, and I knew how to snag it because it just was very, very classy. It had that Cinderella effect, and we just plop it right on top of the hydrangeas, and that's it. You have a beautiful centerpiece, a beautiful decor piece that literally took less than 2 minutes to assemble, and it doesn't matter because it really is still so classy looking. I think sometimes in DIY, we assume that if we're transforming something, we need to do more paint, more embellishments, more texture, more everything. I've been guilty of that myself, but expensive looking decor is often the exact opposite. It feels intentional. So in this case, instead of an extravagant makeover, I asked myself, what could I do that was simple yet elegant? And especially with seasonal decorating where things can get really busy really quickly, a little restraint can make a huge difference. And I think that there's something kind of reassuring about that. Not every change has to be dramatic to make it different. Sometimes one small adjustment changes the entire feeling. And there it is, done in less than 2 minutes, and I love it. One thing I've become a lot more intentional about is taking care of myself in ways that help me keep doing the things that I love. You guys know I'm always working on something, DIY projects, decorating, painting, building things, and spending time with my family. And I want to continue feeling strong and capable while I'm doing all of that. So I've been thinking more about longevity, not necessarily to just add years, but really about supporting myself as I age so I can keep showing up and doing all the things that I enjoy so much. And one of the things that I have been using is a timeline powered by MitoPure, who is partnering with me for today's episode. Big thank you. MitoPure is a highly pure form of urolithin A. Say that 5 times, which is a postbiotic nutrient that supports mitochondrial health. And your mitochondria are basically the energy centers inside your cells. So taking care of them is an important part of supporting healthy aging. MitoPure is backed by more than 18 years of research and over 10 clinical studies, and it's clinically proven to renew mitochondria and support muscle strength, cellular energy, and healthy aging. I've been taking the strawberry gummies, which make it really easy. They taste great, there's no added sugar, and there's no mixing or measuring, which I love. I literally grab 2 gummies, pop them in my mouth, then I'm done. It's that simple. So if you're also thinking about ways to support your cellular health and healthy aging, you can check out Timeline powered by MitoPure. I'll have all of the information you need linked down in the description box below. A big thank you once again to Timeline powered by MitoPure for partnering with me on today's episode. And speaking of things that could use a little renewal, I found an arrangement that was tired but still had potential. Let's get on that, but in the meantime, I'm gonna take my gummies. Okay, so this arrangement actually already had a lot going for it. The bones were good. It just needed a little editing. And honestly, I think editing may be one of the most underrated decorating skills. So I felt like there was a couple flowers that were like a bright purple that just brought down the arrangement. Plus it felt a little tired, like it had been around for a while, and it just needed a little tweaking. So I pulled out a couple of the flowers that I wasn't loving, the bright purple, and then I inserted some like plum or lavender, like fall kind of color peony in those places instead. And then I added some fall foliage. I added some more of those rose hip / mini pomegranate things. I just kind kind of refreshed it overall. I also poked in a couple of little blue, like berry things, not blueberries, but you know, blueberry things. And I think this gave it a really like harvesty feel to it. With this arrangement, I kept what was still work. I removed what was dated and added just enough to bring it to the look I want now. And I think this is a really good lesson for decorating in general. Your taste is allowed to change. Your home is allowed to evolve. Whoa, we are dog sitting. This is Poco. He's my friend's dog and he just jumped on my lap. You want to say hi? He's so sweet. Okay, and look at the difference. It feels fresher, it feels richer, and so much more intentional without replacing the entire thing. We've already transformed a few of our thrift finds, but I still have a few more coming up, including one that may be the easiest project in the whole episode. If you love thrifted decor and love saving money but getting a high-end look, and you haven't subscribed yet, or maybe you have and it's unsubscribed, hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. It really does help my channel and it keeps me to be able to keep bringing you content like this, and I really appreciate it. When I found this one, I remember thinking there was something about it I liked, but it also felt a little basic. But I loved the diamonds, I loved the stripes and the polka dots, and I definitely loved the glitter, obviously, but I felt like there was some potential left behind on this piece. And this is really what I want you to train yourself to do when you thrift. Look at the shape, look at the scale, look at the structure, and ask yourself, what could you keep instead of immediately focusing on everything that you would have to change? Okay, so for this one, it kind of gave me like some Mackenzie Childs vibes, sort of. It was a little flat and one-dimensional. So what I decided to do is to turn it into like another like topiary floral arrangement type things. Now this is like a flat piece of decor. Maybe it was meant to go on the wall, or maybe it was meant to sit in front of a, I don't know, an entryway or something like that. But I wanted to give it a little bit more dimension. So the first thing that I did is I flipped it over and I glued on a dowel, and I put little paper things on it to stabilize that dowel a little bit as well. And then I had a black planter pot from the Dollar Tree. It was like $1.25. And I put in some used floral foam, taped it into place. And then I shoved our topiary plaque right into that planter pot. And then I just went around and found like fall foliage and flowers I already had, because I already have like way too much stuff. So I actually grabbed a bag of fall leaves that I had from another project years ago, used those. I found florals that I'd used from previous years. And then I had a couple of new finds from Dollar General, these like crunchy flowers that are like really florable. And I really like them when they have them. They're kind of hit and miss, but I get them at Dollar General and they're really cute. And so I made this little floral arrangement around it. And then I felt like the raffia ribbon that had come on it was a little boring. So I took a couple of ribbons that I had in my stash, and I thought about making a big bow at first, and then I kind of decided to simplify it. And so that's what I did. I just did 2 ribbons with a simple bow, and then I took a little purple flower, glued that in the center. I'm still debating whether I like the long tails on it or not. I might shorten those up. What would you do? But I think this turned out so adorable. I love how this looked. So once you evaluate like shape, scale, size, and focus on what you can do with an item, once you start doing that, thrifting becomes less about finding the perfect thing and more about recognizing the possibility. And that is such a useful skill in decorating. You stop buying everything to be exactly right when you buy it. You start trusting your own eye. You start knowing what you can change and what is worth leaving alone. And that's when I think your home really starts to feel personal. Now, isn't this so much better than what we found? It's so cute. I love this. Okay, and I saved our simplest little thrift find for the very last because I think it might be the best example of everything that we've been talking about today. Now, there wasn't anything fundamentally wrong with this. The shape was good, the idea was good, it just felt tired. And honestly, that is one of my favorite kinds of thrift finds. So all I did is I took out some wood conditioner and polished up this tired old wood leaf. You can use this to put fall potpourri. You can use it on your coffee table as like a styling piece. You can style it with your cutting boards, like flip it over and put like it back so it kind of look like a cutting board. You can flip it over and put like some flowers, a candle, or some decor on it and use it as like a charger piece. And so this had so many different possibilities. I think sometimes we make change much more complicated than it needs to be, but sometimes it just needs a little polishing. And this is another example of knowing when not to add more. The leaf shape is already interesting. It just needed a finish that lets the shape become the star. Same thrift store leaf, completely different feeling. And I think that might be my favorite kind of makeover, the kind where you realize the beauty was there the whole time. Five thrift store finds, 5 really simple transformations, and not one of them needed to become something completely different. They just needed a fresh perspective. And I think that's why I really love thrifting. It teaches you not to judge something only by the way it looks right now. You learn to look a little closer, to recognize what's worth keeping, to change what isn't working, and imagine what something could become. Maybe that's one of the reasons I love fall so much too. It's a season filled with change, and yet everywhere you look, there is still so much beauty. And I think life can be like that. We don't have to stay exactly the same as where we were in another season to still be creative, capable, useful, or full of possibilities. Sometimes we keep the things that still serve us. We let go of a few things that don't, and we make room for something new. So whatever season you happen to be in right now, I hope you'll look for the beauty that's already there and never underestimate what a few thoughtful changes and a fresh perspective can do. Okay, that's it. And don't forget to check out Timeline powered by Pure. All the information is down in the description box. And if you enjoyed this episode, here's another one that I think you'll like as well. And to all of you, I just want to remind you that you are powerful. We'll see you next time. Bye.